this is the open position. So once you open, you push it by hand to this position, that is the valve is open. So you'll have to push it in this direction and then you take the sounding. And when it is in this position, this is the closed position. Clear, understood, all of you? Now, what is the SOLAS requirement? The sounding pipe or the fuel tank that terminates in the machinery space must have a self-closing device. So, type of the means any tank actually which is like bilge tank containing fuel oil sludge tank, drain tank, fuel oil drain tank, fuel oil overflow tank, all this will have a self-closing device. Any question? Is it clear to you all? Now, remote operated gear for a bilge valve. So the valve which required to operate above the bulkhead deck are remotely operated by power, and actuators, and there should be an indicating mechanism operating from the operating station, so that you know that the valve is open or closed. It has to be on the same place. Like when you are remotely operating, it is on the above the bulkhead deck, and also the installation, complete installation has to be fitted within the ship's B/5 and a remote control station situated above the bulkhead deck. Then the remote control of the bilge valve able to override the local manual control. Suppose somebody is locally trying to open, he can override the remote control. And valve position indicator has to be there above the bulkhead deck, and locally also there will be a valve position indicator. The person who is operating locally, he can see that the open and closed position, and indicator showing the valve open or valve closed position of the each valve. And the indicator board, suppose there are a number of valve, there will be an indicator centralized position you are operating. So indicator board to provide the power supply is available uh, for functioning of opening and the shut closing position indicator light. Means the power supply, suppose the power supply is not there for the indicator lights, that indicator will show that open or close. We can have mechanical also, we'll see that also. So that power supply should not fail. If it is failure, then it should give you an indication that the power supply is failed, that source, and that source will not glow. So the air supply or the pneumatic valve actuator, then there has to be independent source, because this is an emergency equipment, and it should be situated above the deck, bulkhead deck within the B/5, that is the breadth, total breadth divided by 5, and independent source should be consist of air receiver, air compressor, you can have separately, and uh, suppose it is electrical, then it has to come from the emergency switchboard, the supply. Working pressure not less than 25% greater than the pressure required to open the valve from to the full open position. So 25% power is extra is given. Now let us see this diagram. So this is the ram, which is having the axial motion both way, and this is the quadrant. This ram has got thread here, teeth, and this quadrant has got teeth, and this is the valve spindle, which has got a square head, and this quadrant has got a square slot through which this is connected to the valve, so that what will happen, this valve will open. Suppose this is a butterfly valve. Then what will happen, here if you see, this is a piston and this is a cylinder. The piston can move up and down. Once the piston is moving down, then what will happen, the piston is shifting in this direction. So this is pressurized, and the volume on top of the piston, it is a double acting. Piston is reducing. Then what will happen, this will be the return line, this will be the pressure line. What will happen, this will be the pressure and this will be the return. And the ram will move in this direction. What will happen, so it will move in this direction, so it will turn the valve. And then if you want to move it in opposite direction, suppose that is closing or opening, for an example, 90-degree it turns, it opens, and after that we want to close, then what will happen, we move this piston in opposite direction, upward direction. This volume will reduce, this volume will increase, so this will become the pressure line, this will become the return line. So the valve will rotate in opposite direction, because ram is having the axial, and it will convert into the angular motion of the quadrant, and then quadrant is turning the your valve, so valve will turn and it will close. Is it clear? Have you understood? And suppose there is a leakage, then what will happen? If there is a leakage, then the pressure will drop, and through the non-return valve, these two are the non-return valve, and this is the header tank, which is kept oil, and there will be a side glass. You maintain the level, and then what will happen, through the non-return valve, that chamber will be, oil will be compensated. It will be replenished. Is it clear, all of you? So that is the way remote control valve, bilge valve, you can operate. Yeah, tell me, Ephraim.
Chief, what is the reason that we don't have self-closing valves in the bulkhead deck?
Tell me.
I mean, in the sounding pipes.
Yeah, sounding pipe. Okay, this one, let me explain.
What is the reason that we don't have?
So what is the reason for you don't have this self-closing, isn't it? That is your question. Because self-closing is not required. Here it has to be self-closed. Otherwise, what will happen? Flooding will take place. If your DV tank is bottom is ruptured, or somewhere there is a damage, water will flood the engine room. As well as these tanks are having the fumes, hydrocarbon gases, that will come to the engine room. Engine room will become hazardous. So the flooding, to prevent the, if there is any damage to the DV tank, then what will happen? Uh, that will terminate at that point. So the water will not enter into the engine room. If you don't have self-closing and somebody forget, it means it is not closed, then what will happen? Water will. That's why strictly the PSC inspector surveyor, they do check, classification society surveyor, they do check if it is working, functioning properly or not, malfunction, or somebody is lashed it or not, so that it is the protection of the safety of the ship, because engine room otherwise can be flooded. And also the fuel oil tanks, the fumes, hydrocarbon gases can release to the engine room also. So primary, it's to prevent your the flooding. as well as the your heat source can enter into your tank. That's why you see that plug has to be there. Here you have here the arrangement is these two arrangement, the vent head, that is not the vent, the sounding cap, you have the arrangement. So here this is actually up to here, and it is welded. This is sounding pipe is up to here. After that, this complete this assembly, it is welded here. And you have the cap on top. So if we see from top, it will be like this. And you have a square slot here. So you put the key and then open. So it is threaded here. And this side, this is welded at the bottom because it has got a thickness. Suppose if you want to, if you see from the side, then what will happen? This is the red color. And this is the green color. And you have the thread here. And you have this. And this is your upper deck. So it is welded here. And this is the cap, and cap has got a slot. This slot is like this, where you put the key spanner to open it. And then your sounding pipe is this. And it is welded here. Understood? This cap, the sounding cap, it comes, assembly is coming. So that and another is this one. This one is slightly different. So this is the cap, and you have the and you have the slot here, square slot to open and close this. And there is thread here. And it is screwed onto the sounding head. And then your pipe is this. Your pipe is here. And there are threads. Here there will be thread, Here there will be thread. So this is screwed onto this, and then this, you open this one, and then you take the sounding, because this, the blue one is like this. No. Yeah. So on top it will be threaded here, and at the bottom it will be threaded here. Is it clear how it is?
Yes, it's clear.
So okay, now let's go back to another chapter. Okay. Before we go into this, let me, one of you actually, yeah, from the Addis office, he have sent this. I think Tilahun had sent this. Now, Tilahun, tell me, are you talking about this, the overflow, this line?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the leakage leakage alarm. You see, this is the high level alarm high, and this is the level switch. So this is a small tank you have. Any leakage, it gets collected here, and then it is going to the, it overflows and goes to the, this is the overflow line, and it is going to the overflow tank. Sometimes some ships it goes to the drain tank. That's why I was using that terminology, drain tank. So in your ship, it has gone to the overflow tank. It means you have a tank, and where the inlet, any leakage, its inlet is coming here. And there will be a, at the bottom, there will be a line which is going to the, in your case, it is going to the waste oil tank. And that is shut actually. Once this oil level goes up, then what will happen? It will, at one point, it will overflow, and that is the line you are talking about, this one, which is going to the overflow tank. And you have one float here. That high level alarm, what you see, that float will move up as the level, oil level goes up, and then once it moves up, then what will happen? It gives you an alarm, high level alarm. It means that it will give you a leakage alarm, high leakage alarm. And in your ships, it goes to the, actually, the overflow tank. And then suppose you want to drain it, so you can drain it to the waste oil tank. This goes to the waste oil tank. So at the bottom, it goes to the waste oil tank. Sometimes the bottom also it goes to the drain tank. In that case, there will be one valve, and then here this connection will be here. So there will not be a separate going to the waste oil tank. Is it clear, the Addis office?
Yes.
Now, another thing you have told, that is the, yeah. Now tell me here, which one is in series? See, you see, all are in parallel.
For the generator,
For the,
auxiliary generator.
yes, generator will be in series. That is in series, but otherwise it will be, because here it is in, you are talking about this, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, this will be in series. So it will be because one is lower temperature than the others. So that is the reason we have the, we put it in series. Now tell me which one is in series. These two. First cooler is which one? You have a cooler here. Which cooler it is?
For auxiliary number 1, number 2, you say?
No, this is all the engine, all the, you have three generator, all three generator will be the same. There are two cooler. One is this, another is this. Which one is this? Tell me.
That's for the air cooler and the low oil cooler.
Yeah. So first one is air cooler or low oil cooler?
The first one is air.
Yeah. So this is in series because that temperature what we are maintaining, air cooler we are maintaining is lower temperature, means we need actually more heat transfer, because air inlet temperature is after the compressor of the of your this thing uh, of your turbocharger. So we first cool it, the air, and then same water it goes to the lube oil. It cools the lube oil. So this is the arrangement, because lube oil temperature, the after the air cooler, the still the water that can take the heat away from the, it can use the uh, coolant for the lube oil cooler, and it can reduce the temperature to maintain around 40 degree of the lube oil also.
Yes, I get the idea. But my question is, if we have a malfunction, like for the valve, for example, auxiliary number 1 or
Yeah,
auxiliary number 3,
yeah,
inlet valve, cooling water inlet valve is broken.
yeah,
So how do we manage to fix?
yes.
I
Now,
mean,
now,
the pressure of.
uh, like that's why what I said, it is for the same system. Suppose here this is a problem, and this is also, this is no problem, but your engine, will you be able to run the engine?
No.
So you shut down this engine, and you need to isolate. If it is valve is leaking, here you see there are two valves, and then return line, there is one valve. So you can isolate from these two, because this engine is inoperative now. Whether one heat exchanger is defective, or the heat exchanger is defective, and there is no isolation. Actually, if you want to isolate, you'll have to isolate from here. Individually, you cannot isolate, because it is in series, and
I'm
it
not
is
going.
not.
For example,
Yeah,
the cooling water will come from the line which is the inlet line for both for three of them. This is in one line. The inlet is
yeah,
in one line.
yeah,
As you see. So if in the return line is the same in series. So to change the inlet valve, we close. So which means the other generator will not get the
yes.
in return line.
Other generator will get return line. Why it will not get return line? All are parallelly connected. You see. These are parallel connection. Why it should be? It should affect the other generator. Tell me, Tilahun.
because after the returning, it will go to other system.
No, if you see, this is only within one generator. So this series connection is only, you see the line. It is going to like this, and it is come back to the connection here. And this is it's coming, connection is from here. And then it is entering like this, and then it is going to the here, the return line of the other return line, all it will meet and then going to the overboard. Now you are saying, suppose this valve is damaged, correct? So what will happen? Other flow rate will change, the others, because it is leaking. And you mean to say, is it leaking in and out both?
Yes.
Suppose in and out both it is leaking, then there will be a short circuit here. Though engine is not running, but still there will be a flow. In that case, there is no choice but to blank the line.
Okay.
If you want to blank the line and then repair it, after that you remove the blank and normalize. Understood? You can put a spoon blank, because which can easily you can remove and put, so that the other system will get the maximum flow. But one thing remember, suppose all three generator is running, then what will happen? Your cooling water is open to all three or not? So your capacity should be such. But if you have problem with the capacity because of the wear and tear of the pump, then you can we use the spoon and blank. Clear? Understood?
Yes.
Now tell me any other question. Now let me see how many of you are present, because I'll have to take the feedback. So you have total Addis, how many of you are there? Addis. So what you do, I'll show you this on the screen, what you can see. So this is the feedback. By email, you have the individual email. By email, you send me that you write this way, that first one is 1, second one is 2, third one is 3, 4, 5. And 1, which one you want to write? 2, which one you want to write? 3, put the comment. 4, put the comment. And 5, put the comment. And additional comment you want to write, you can. What you do from your mobile, you take a snap on this, and then by email after ending of the lecture, you send me the email 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and comment 1, what is the comment, 2, what is the comment, 3, like that, 5, like that, and then additional comment remark if you want to have, you write it down. Is it clear?
Sir, you hear me?
Yeah. Tell me. Yeah, I can hear
We
you.
must write our name, sir.
This one name is not written. Name is not necessary. But it is coming to me, so don't you don't think at all, because you'll be sending by email to me, but it will not be disclosed. Understood? Who has sent? The write it all the comments, and then additional remark if you want to have anything, you write it and send it to me. Today only you send it to me after completion of the your this thing, the lecture. But take the photo of the columns. So what is it written? And once you have taken the photo, tell me, so that still have 10 minutes time. So I'll complete few more things. And if you have any questions, also you ask me. And as I told you that if you have any extra, you need any extra lecture, there is no problem. I'll give you the extra lecture. So you can tell me. There will not be any problem before exam if you want. And always you will send me an email. I'll reply to that. If you have any doubts, any questions you want to ask me, any doubt, clarification, so you always send me. Have you already taken the photo?
Yes.
Okay, so I can close it.
Yes, you can close it, sir.
Now tell me, what is foaming in the boiler? Okay, before that you tell me, anybody has any question?
Yes, Chief.
Yeah, tell me.
In the engine cooling system, we have this connection to with the fuel. It's a hot water. I don't know. Is it like steam tracing or something? I was not here. I didn't hear the answer for that.
Yeah. So okay, that you are Abraham, isn't it?
Yes, Chief. Yes.
Yeah, I'll send it by email. I'll send it to you all, so it will come to you also. Okay. The this thing, Mirga, you raised your hand. Tell me.
It's about refrigeration compressor, Chief.
Yeah, tell me.
Where does the refrigerant leakage into the crankcase go? Since there is no 100% sealing.
Your crankcase is always pressurized by the suction pressure.
No
So
refrigerant leak.
Refrigerant will be there in the crankcase always. No, nowhere it will go. And crankcase pressure is, that's why you have the differential pressure switch for the lube oil, because lube oil is always pressurized by the suction pressure. It will remain there. the some compressor, it is the flow of the refrigerant from the suction side, it goes to the crankcase and then it goes to the cylinder. And the oil property is such that it can mix, but easily it can separate also. One of the property it has got. It can be easily separated from the uh, uh, refrigerant. So it will not go anywhere. That's why your crankcase is always pressurized. That's why the charging of oil, you see there is a procedure for that, isn't it? America, have you understood?
Understood, Chief.
Yeah, a crankcase is always pressurized. Yeah, Ephraim, tell me.
Chief, my question is, can you tell us about the procedure of pumping down the refrigerant and also, pumping down and charging procedures
Yeah.
in the refrigeration system?
Yeah. So the charging and the pumping down procedure you want to know, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So the pumping down procedure is actually you are collecting the refrigerant into the condenser, into the receiver basically. But many of the cases receive, you will not have separate receiver. Your condenser and receiver is same. At the bottom of part of the condenser is receiver. So the procedure is to collect it. What you do, you shut the outlet valve of the uh, of your condenser. Condenser refrigerant outlet valve you shut. Then you run the compressor on auto. It will auto cut in, cut off. So what will happen? It will take the uh, refrigerant in the suction side, but the delivery side, it is going to the condenser. After that, and the receiver, after that, it is not going. It is not flowing. Have you understood what I said?
Can you use the diagram, sir?
Yeah. So this is the compressor. And this is our evaporator. This is the suction. And this is our expansion valve. This is the bulb. And it's before that, you have the solenoid valve. Before that, you have the flow indicator. You have the dryer. And you have the bypass valve. And this is coming from the condenser. Condenser outlet valve is this. And this is the delivery going to the condenser. Shut this valve. Now what will happen? You are running the compressor on auto. So this all refrigerant after this valve will come to the suction side. After that, it is going to the condenser. And your cooling water should be fully open. So the cooling water should be fully open so that all the refrigerant is going to the delivery side, it gets condensed, and then you will see this is the side glass. You will see the level is increasing. And at one point, you will see the level is steady. So that time, 3-4 times, if it is start and stop, you will see it is getting collected, and then you stop the compressor isolate the compressor. Suction and delivery valve, you shut. That is the pumping down procedure. Is it clear? Have you understood?
Yes, Chief. What
Now,
about the charging?
yeah, charging, there are two ways you can charge. So this is your compressor. And this is your crankcase. Now, crankcase is pressurized. So one is you isolate the suction and delivery, and then you depressurize the crankcase and you charge it. Again, you restart. Another one is, because once you depressurize, what will happen? Air will enter into the crankcase. Then you'll have to purge the air. Suppose we don't want air to enter, we don't want to depressurize. So depressurize we'll have to do, but we can create vacuum. How we can create vacuum? You have a charging valve and you connect a pipe. And you take the oil in the clean container, and this pipe, this is the oil, this pipe you put it here. Now what do? You keep the suction valve and discharge valve shut, and you start the compressor for very short time. What will happen? The pressure in the crankcase will drop because there is no suction now, and it is going to the delivery side, and delivery side will not come to the your crankcase. So crankcase will have negative pressure. It will create a slight vacuum. Once the vacuum is created, this valve will open. Once this valve is open, here you have the atmospheric pressure. So what will happen? This will push out this oil and it will enter into the crankcase. And you can see the level. Once it is normal level, then you shut it off. And this you will have to do 2-3 times maybe. It depends upon how much you want to replenish, if you want to charge. Here the problem is one thing, there can be chances of dirt from outside can enter into the crankcase. Another way you can have it, you have a pump. You have a separate lube oil pump only for the charging of the refrigeration compressor. So it takes suction from the container and then it goes to it is connected, delivery is connected here. Then you don't have to do anything. You can charge because crankcase is pressurized, does not matter because your pump pressure will be higher than that. Is it clear? Understood? Ephraim?
Can you repeat the charging part? Are we filling up oil or are we charging? I get confused here.
No, say again. I cannot hear you. Say again.
What you just explained, is it about replenishing the oil or charging with a new
no. That is replenishing. You are talking about the refrigerant charging, not the lube oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I want.
Okay. Yeah.
Sir, lube oil, the first one.
Yeah. The first one is the you can clean and means that you can full charge. You can replace the oil. The first one. This is the second one. What I said, and this is the third one. First one I said you depressurize and open and clean, and then you charge it.
What's the second one?
Second one is for this. You create a vacuum, negative pressure inside the crankcase. That you can do. You suction, you shut, you run the compressor, then what will happen? The suction, this crankcase is subjected to the suction pressure. Now there is no suction flow, so the vacuum will be created here. Once the vacuum you will be created, but do not create too much vacuum, then lube oil will be a problem. So once the vacuum is created, you open this valve, then what will happen? Atmospheric pressure is higher than this vacuum. This will push out this oil and it will go inside the crankcase. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now charging. Charging is, you have the liquid charging here. You can have gas charging, it will be here. But nowadays, most of the cases, we don't have gas charging, liquid charging we have. So you connect the bottle here and make sure there is, the air is removed. Crack open the, you don't tighten this, you tight this, crack open the bottle, and then patch this small piece of flexible pipe, and then after you tightening, after that what you do, you shut this valve, and before charging you pump down first and then charge. This valve is already shut, and then you open this valve and run the compressor. Then what will happen? From this side, no refrigerant can come. This liquid refrigerant will go through the your dryer. After that, flow indicator. After that, it goes through the evaporator, and then it will go to the suction, and then delivery will go to the condenser. And you monitor the condenser level, normal level. You shut it off. Stop the charging. Is it clear? Charging.
Yes,
But one thing, be careful, this charging, there is a, if you have the, this is the bottle, and there may be two valves. One is the liquid charging, one is the gas charging. You must open the liquid charging. Liquid charging valve, when you open, there is a deep tube, so that liquid is coming out. And this that gas charging valve, if you open, the valve is, pipe is on the top, and some bottle has got only one valve. In that case, for liquid charging, you'll have to put the bottle in upside down, because there is no deep tube, only one valve is here. So it is taking, so that liquid will be here and charging will take place. Is it clear, all of you?
yeah.
In this case, compressor is run, sir.
Which case? This charging?
Yeah, during charging.
Yes, you'll have to run the compressor. After connection, you open the valve, then compressor, you run it. It will be auto cut in, cut off, because now the supply is from here. The pressure will increase, suction pressure, it will cut in, and it will take the this from this, you will be having the suction from the bottle. Another thing, when you are charging and when you are collecting, that time solenoid valve you open manually, so that all the gases will be collected in the condenser. Otherwise, solenoid valve might not be open. Understood? All the solenoid valve you open, so that it gets collected, and then you charge it, so that you know how much it is. After that, you normalize. Once the level is normal, then you shut this valve, and then you disconnect this and put the plug, and then compressor will take suction. You open this valve, compressor will take suction from the your condenser receiver, and then you normalize this valve also, so that automatically it will open and close. Clear? Understood? Any other question? Tell me. So if there is no question, and your exam will be together, Joe 31 and 32, both together exam will be there. So, and any question, always contact me. I'll send you notes. And this, all the material I'll be sending by this weekend. Surely I'll be sending, because now I have time for till this weekend. I'll be completing that. I'll be sending you that remaining part. So any question, any other? And who will take the responsibility? One of you, Mesfin or Yami, who is the senior most in your group, to ensure that everybody, those are not in the lecture, they also has to send this feedback. So ask everybody. I'll send an email to everybody, but because since you all are in Ethiopia, you can talk over phone, and you tell that tonight all the feedback should be sent to me. So okay, then yeah, somebody, yeah, Samuel, tell me.
Chief, I am disconnected from this power. I had the power problem, so I never heard what you are talking about, your feedback.
Yeah, feedback. Okay, let me open that file. Take a photo of this file.
Okay.
And then you write, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you write 1, what is the feedback? 2, what is the feedback? 3, like up to 5, and any additional remark, you write it. Okay.
Okay, okay, Chief.
Yeah. Okay, if there is no question, then we close it here today. And this is the end of your batch. But if you need any assistance, always I am there. So that assistance is always there. So don't worry about that. So always contact me, I'll assist you.
So Chief, no, after this time, no class?
After this time, today is the end of your course. But if you want any class, extra class, I can take till this week, because from Monday I'll be starting the JO 32. So then
Okay.
whole day I'll be busy. So
okay,
this weekend, till this weekend, if you want any extra class, you tell me, I'll contact. There is no problem. But you
Okay.
tell me one day before, so that I'll plan accordingly.
Okay, if I have a question, I attach with your email.
Yes, you send me my email, I'll reply to that.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Yeah.